And one thing you don't want to do with a BMW hitch is stand right here and pull this arm. Because when you pull that arm, this thing will have a tendency to roll because you got back pressure on it. And it can roll forward.
And then you're stuck.
See, we roll forward just a little bit. That could be on your foot. So take your foot away from that before you actually roll in.
When we purchased our 41 RKDB luxury fifth wheel, we were about as green as we could possibly be when it comes to the RV world. But fortunately for us, we did have some really good instructions from what I would consider the world's greatest RV dealership manager, Ken Rife, because he took a lot of extra time to teach us things we needed to know, especially when it came to how to drive with that big mammoth fifth wheel towing behind us. You know, at first I was very nonchalant about RVing and all the steps necessary to move it from point A to point B and all the fundamentals of RVing and the setting up and the breaking things down. Not to mention the fact that even though people would tell me that just because you have a new RV, that doesn't mean that things aren't going to break and things aren't going to go wrong. I heard what they said, but I kind of just shrugged it off as, yeah, well, you know, I'll figure that out as I go. And to the most part, I have figured out a lot of things as we've gone, but I just couldn't imagine what would have happened if we just hooked up our truck to the fifth wheel and drove it down the road without any understanding, without any tutoring, without anybody teaching us and coaching us on the important aspects of driving with a big fifth wheel behind you. It would have been a disaster. And so I was able to record some of what Ken taught us as he was teaching us how to drive. And I just wanted to pass that information on from anyone who could benefit from how to drive a truck with a fifth wheel behind you, especially if you're looking into RVing or driving a fifth wheel or any kind of trailer behind you. This is some very important information that could literally keep you from having a major accident while driving down the road. So let's just go ahead and dive into the video right where we were leaving the RVs For Less dealership. Ken was driving our truck, which by the way is a 2016 Ford F350 King Ranch Super Duty Dually 4x4 with a 6.7 Power Stroke B20 turbo diesel. Wasn't that a mouthful? Let's go ahead and dive into the video.
So right now, you know, we pulled out. We're 50 miles an hour. It's handling it well. This is what this truck was made to do.
Yeah.
It don't like to drive around and go to the grocery store and empty. That's not the truck's life. Hook this up and go down the road. That's what it was built for. Now, when we get up here in a little bit of a straightaway, when I know there's nobody behind me, be at highway speed and want to let off the gas, just touch the brake, see how the brakes are working together to make sure that my brake power is set appropriately. If I need to lower it a little bit or raise it a little bit, I want it to kind of stretch you out. If you feel it pull you back, you too much brake. If you feel like the truck's doing all the work, you don't have enough. Okay. So I'm just get around this curve and it's kind of straight. And I'm on, so we're at 60 miles an hour right now, so highway speeds we'll call it. So now I'm just going to get a little bit of a brake. You feel the transmission gearing me down, yeah, and the engine brake coming in?
That's the engine brake.
Yeah, that's the engine brake. So it felt pretty good to me. Now if you get into an emergency brake situation, you can't really tell what the brakes are doing because everything is locking up. So you just want to get a good steady brake and feel how it's working. Make sure this weight is not rooting you forward, that it's all stopping together. That's what you want. You want everything stopping together.
6.5 is the magic number.
6.5 is good. If you feel a little more comfortable with 7, we can bump it up a little bit. We can go here and we go 7. That's a gain on the brake. So that's how much effort that brake is putting out. So now if I let off of it and hit it, now my trailer is actually braking a little tighter. And it don't feel super bad. That's okay. I don't think it's too much. So we may leave it at 7. Like it's revving up, that's your exhaust brake kicking in and your truck gearing down. And I have very little brake. I'm letting the truck do the work. And just let it slow itself down, and don't wait till you get right on something to stop. Stop way ahead of yourself because you're pulling 22,000 pounds. So you need to drive, you know, quarter, half mile ahead of yourself.
Another important lesson that Ken taught us was to always test our trailer brakes before we take off driving, and we did catch some of that on film.
So what we're going to do here is hold this, and now your brake is actually applied. So if you pull forward, then you should not go nowhere. Your trailer's holding you back. That tells you, okay, my brake's working.
So our truck came with a tow package, which really is a must if you're going to be towing a fifth wheel or travel trailer. because the trailer brakes connect to the truck's braking system when you plug the trailer's electrical components into the truck. And all you have to do to check the trailer brakes after you're plugged in is to squeeze in the trailer brakes gain lever and then hold it in as you try to move forward. You'll know real quick when your trailer brakes are working because your truck will stop within the first few seconds as soon as the trailer brakes hold. But if your trailer brakes don't engage when you're moving forward and your truck keeps moving, then one or two things have most likely happened. A, which is hopefully the problem, is that your electrical connection just needs to be reseated. Just go ahead and unplug it, plug it back in. Sometimes you may have to squeeze the connections together so there's no air gaps when you're putting the plug in. If that's not the problem, then you most likely have a broken brake line. And there have been a few occasions, unfortunately, that I have lost 2 brake lines. On one occasion, one of our brake lines was rubbing up against our tire until it finally ruptured, causing all the brake fluid to come out, and thus, when I tested the brake system at a gas station, it did not work. On one occasion, we got in some rough terrain, and I think that's what caused one of our brake lines to pop. And so to my surprise, about 2 months after our first mishap, I tested our brakes again, and boom, the brakes did not work. And so at least I had the experience from the first brake line mishap to know what it was. And I was able to fix that on my own with no need to going to the RV dealership. So the moral of the story is always check your trailer brakes at every stop before you move forward to make sure that they work. Let's go ahead and dive back into our lesson.
Now we're going to turn onto a 2-lane road. So when I make this left turn, I'm going to go deep into the turn and turn left, and I will not encroach that lane. So this trailer is going to follow you within about 2.5 to 3 feet. So if my truck's here, my trailer is going to be about 2.5 feet inside me, whichever way the inside is. When we go left, there's a set of S curves over here. So it's going to make a left curve and then a right curve. When you're doing on a 2-lane road, if you're doing a left curve, you put your right tire on the line, and that's going to give room for your trailer to come inside of you. When you're doing a right turn, then you put your left tire on the center line, and that's going to give room for your trailer to come this inside of you. So you won't be rubbing either way. You've got to allow that inside movement. As you start, turn wide. Nothing's going to happen if you turn wide. If you turn too close or not wide enough, you're going to be calling the insurance company. So the wider you turn, no problem. But if you cut it short, then we're going to hit as our trailer comes inside.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now if you look in that lower mirror right here, you'll see where my trailer is going to come into, and I am nowhere close to that yellow line. I stayed completely in my lane. Okay, now as I'm going around this left curve, I'm going to keep my front tire on that white line, or close to that white line, so my trailer doesn't cross that yellow line in the center, because we're on a 2-lane road. So if you watch over, I've got plenty of room. I'm probably inside that thing a foot. Now as I'm coming to this side, now I've just moved my truck over to the left. And then you can watch, you see where some trailers have been on the bank? See, I'm a foot, 10 inches inside of it. But when you're on a 2-lane road, you got to use the road. Okay, don't drive in the middle of the road.
Gotcha.
You drive in the middle of the road, your trailer is going to the outside of you, or to the inside of you, and it could hit that bank wall, or hit a curb, or hit something. So take what you need to be safe in your lane. That yellow line is my lane. That's mine, and I'm going to take it if I need it. Okay. When we come across this hill, we're going to come to a traffic light, and we're going to make a left. And we're going to make a left turn, and you always turn into the left lane. And we can do that with this unit. Now, most people always go over into the right lane, and it's okay if there's nothing over there. But if there's a car turning from the oncoming traffic, then the right lane is their lane. The left lane is your lane. So you're going to turn left into the left lane. We don't want to push the issue here because we're tall, we're heavy. So even though that light was yellow, if I kind of tried to speed through the turn,
Gotcha.
then we go greasy side up. It's never good to be greasy side up. So I'm not going to encroach into that right lane. I'm going to use my left lane. As you can see in my lower mirror here, I stayed completely in my lane. I never encroached another lane.
Gotcha.
This thing tracks you so well. Key to driving is you use your lane, and then you have to believe that the other driver is going to use their lane, and then if they encroach your lane, when you call the police, it's on them, not you.
Right.
Make sure you're in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
And don't go out of your lane to miss somebody, because then you're going to wreck and it's going to be your fault. If you don't mix paint, it's your fault. They run me off the road. I don't see nobody matched paint. They never hit you. You drove out of the road. That's a hard thing not to do, is drive out of the road.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did when we were learning how to tow our fifth wheel behind us. We're still learning as we go, but I just wanted to share that information with you in case you're learning to drive a fifth wheel for the first time, or maybe you're considering to enter into the RV world. Make sure you take the time and do your due diligence to study, get the right truck for the right rig that you're going to be towing. If you like this video and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of any upcoming videos that we post. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.